Thank you very much, Chairman. And Ambassador, you're aware that importers pay a tariff?
Can you say that again, sir?
You're aware that importers pay the tariff?
The importer of record, that's right.
And then those importers often have to pass those costs on, and they ended up, consumers pay the tariff, and the estimate is over $2,000 a year. Is it good or bad for American citizens that their general family is going to have to pay $2,000 plus more this coming year?
I disagree with the Yale Budget Lab, who's staffed by former Biden staffers. A lot of times the exporter eats the tariff. The importer of record is
What's your estimate?
What's my estimate?
Yeah, of how much more consumers are going to pay.
First of all, sometimes it's zero, especially if it's coming from a country that's a non-market economy where they're subsidized and they don't have to worry
But no,
about
the
the bottom
average
line.
family in America, you disagree with the $2,400. How much do you think an average family is going to pay more because of the tariffs?
I don't have a number.
Okay, I think it's an important point, and I would think in your role you might have understood that a lot of costs are passed on to the consumer and that that's hurting families. I met with a small business a couple weeks ago in Oregon, and they ordered products for their manufacturing, and when they ordered it, the tariff was 10%, en route it was 20%, and by the time they arrived, it was 30%. They probably wouldn't have ordered those particular products if they knew they had to pay 30%. So when tariffs are coming on very suddenly, it imposes unexpected costs on America, and that's particularly challenging for small businesses. Why not give enough notice in advance so that small businesses don't end up in this kind of tariff trap?
So when we impose tariffs, we always include what's called a goods on the water provision to try to at least minimize, some of these changes. That's a real issue. I'm not discounting that. And so if there are goods on the water for several weeks beforehand and they've gone out, that's fine. If you do it earlier than that.
I'll accept your answer that you try to address that, but I've had a number of companies who have told me they have had to pay more when it arrived than when they ordered the product. So maybe there's a way we can improve that piece of the puzzle. And then companies are telling me that they're not making decisions on new factories because of the uncertainty about if it takes 3 years to build a factory, what the tariffs will be at that point, and where their customers will be. Have you observed and are you familiar with the fact that a lot of investment decisions are on pause because of the rapid changing nature of the tariffs?
Well, anecdotally, I've had some folks come to me and talk about that. When I look at the data, the objective data, we're seeing private investment increase. We're seeing consumer consumption quite robust. So the data shows that things are still continuing. But I hear anecdotes like you're saying.
I acknowledge your point on the consumer side, but on the investment side, that is not what I've seen in the studies. I'll be happy to submit some information for the record on that. And then the net effect year to date, the November estimate covering year through August was the last numbers we had. Did the trade deficit go up or down year over year?
There was a lot of front running, so it's gone up. When you look at since August, September, it's gone down. And it's certainly gone down with respect to China.
Yeah, we did see a drop in September, point taken. But for January through August, year over year, it's a 25% increase in the trade deficit. And I hope you're right that it will continue to go down. But a lot of folks, because of the tariff uncertainty, pre-ordered products. And therefore, it's not unclear whether that is simply a dip in how much they're importing at this point because they had already invested before. Finally, my farmers, they are not happy. And they're not happy because a lot of their markets have been disturbed. We don't have the soybeans, so we don't have that kind of big crop. We have a lot of crops where people are uncertain what to plant next spring because they're not sure where the customers will be. And this is part of that instability factor. And are you familiar with how the ag world, I know you're trying to bail them out because of the damage done, but are you familiar with how many different parts of the ag world are feeling a lot of stress because in some cases the tariffs increased some of the inputs like fertilizer or so forth, but they're also stressed about what will their markets be next year because they're uncertain of the up and down.
So with respect to the farmers, I talk to them very frequently. I have a chief agriculture negotiator who hopefully will be confirmed by the Senate in coming days. On the one hand, we know that Interest rates for farmers, labor costs, fertilizer costs skyrocketed during the Biden years. Hopefully those are coming down now. We have gotten more market access for farmers for Oregon hazelnuts and blueberries and horticultural products. So if they want the market access, we're getting it. If folks don't want the market access, they want it, and we're getting it for them. And that's going to create higher commodity prices so they can export. The only country that retaliated against us was China. It's a big country, but no one else retaliated against us. Everyone else negotiated, and most of them has given us new market access, and we hope that the farmers will be able to take advantage of that. We've seen Vietnam reduce tariffs already. Cambodia's eliminated it. The EU, Switzerland, they've already put their legislation.
Well, part of my role is simply to convey what the folks back home have asked me to convey, and my agricultural community is very stressed. My small businesses are very stressed as well. They're saying Main Street is Pain Street, and it's both healthcare costs and it's tariffs. I'm closing now, but I'll just say when I look at this, consumers, a family paying over $2,000 more, investment decisions on hold because of the uncertainty. The trade deficit has increased for the year. It looks to me like it's not serving America well. That's my concern. Thank you.